right before my dad said anything, I seen a figure, like a black figure, just go towards my dad's feet. And my dad was like, "Hey, are you awake?" On actual humans, they were testing. Their main tests were done in universities, hospitals, and
Convention.
yeah.
There's like new mosquitoes now, but they're actually robots that they're watching you now. So now you don't even know if they're real mosquitoes or not. Have you heard of that one?
A mosquito that's
Yeah.
robots.
Ooh.
What up, guys? It's your boy Topia. What are my fellow Utopians? And we're back here with a scary podcast. You feel me? It's already probably, let's see, 11:10. So let's get a little scare on, and I hope you guys are tucked in bed and ready to listen. And I'm here with my female designer, with the best female designer for this Utopia brand.
Yeah, let's get started.
Before we get started, I want to tell you guys that we're going to do 2 giveaways. We're going to do a hoodie, champion hoodie, legit too, feel me? I'll be posting as well so y'all see the design a little more clear, full champion. And we're going to do a shirt with this just ripping it, my design of course. But you feel me, we're going to do a little giveaway and see what goes on, see what's popping.
Oh.
Alright, my fellow Utopians, my bad for the delay. These shits are fucking up on me, man. My equipment, I think it's the evil spirits. They don't want us to talk. Nah, alright, bro.
Stop.
Let's get back to the podcast. Let's begin. So let's start off. Matter of fact, let's start off with talking about bad energy, since that's what's been going on lately right here with this equipment stuff.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about like negative energy? Like, how do you know there might be a negative spirit nearby, and how do you know you might feel like a good spirit?
So I feel like when you have like a bad spirit, you get chills in your body, and like you automatically know, like your aura, or however you say, like you just know. And when there's a good one, you don't feel scared.
Okay.
When there's a bad one, you feel scared. You feel like your hair gets like, you get chills and everything. You just feel scared.
Yeah.
And then good one, you don't. You just feel like it's friendly because you just feel calm. And, I don't know.
Have you ever felt like you had a bad spirit near you?
Yeah.
Like
Like really, really near me. Yeah.
okay.
And it's the worst.
How about good spirit?
A good spirit? Not as much.
No.
Mm-mm.
See, I had a interaction with a good spirit. I wouldn't say a bad spirit. Right before my uncle passed away, I remember my dad and we were in Guatemala, and we were all sleeping like in the same room. So my dad and my mom were sleeping in one bed, and I was sleeping on the floor, like on a mattress.
Yeah.
Because my dad was just building that house at that moment. Like he had it nice and everything, but it was just still rebuilding and everything. And so I remember my uncle passed away the next day. So I remember my dad. I remember right before my dad said anything, I seen a figure, like a black figure, just go towards my dad's feet. And my dad was like, "Hey, are you awake?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he was like, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah." And right before he said anything to me, I told him straight up, I was like, "It's just that I don't want to scare you or anything, but I seen something walk to your legs, but I don't know what if I was seeing things. And my dad straight up told me, he was like, "Look, mijo, I didn't want to scare you or anything, but I did feel someone or something grab my toes. But for some reason, I'm not scared." And I looked at him. Well, he was like, we were basically kind of like looking at each other. He was like laying down here. I was on the floor right here. And mind you, like I said, I was by myself. He was with my mom, but I was by myself on the floor on the
Oh no.
mattress. And so he goes, "Are you scared?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm really not scared." Because to be honest, I wasn't scared. I didn't have any chills or anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Good. Don't be scared. Don't be scared at all." Telling me, because spirits can sense fear, and if they know that you're scared, it's bad. So he
Really?
was, yeah. There's many occasions where they say that spirits and bad entities, they feed off of, let's say, your fear and your sadness. So reason why some people, look, maybe some people are crazy.
Yeah.
I won't lie. Maybe some people are crazy, and who knows.
Mhm.
But there's occasions where people do stupid bad things when they're sad or when they're mad, or because the evil spirits, they feed into that soul, that bad soul, and they feed on that energy where they won't fully, because if your soul is still strong, as much as you're sad, mad, or what I mean, or whatever, scared, if your soul is strong, it's not gonna enter your body, but it can still manipulate some of the things you do. As in, like, it can still make you do bad choices that you don't want to do. And sometimes, those things that you do, and then you start thinking like, damn, I should have never done it. It's not really, you know what I mean?
It's not really you. It's more like the
Again,
spirits.
there's people who are just dumb, crazy, and
Yeah.
they do whatever the fuck they want to do. But I do believe there's evil entities out there that feed on people's weak souls, and they manipulate them and have them do these terrible things. Um, for example, but since we're on the topic of manipulating, have you ever heard about the? Let's see real quick, because I think I have it right. Yep. Have you heard about the Project MK Ultra?
No.
So the Project MK Ultra was actually found. It started in 1950s, and it ended around the 1970s. It was an actual thing. So the government actually was testing on actual humans. Their main tests were done in universities, hospitals, and prisons.
Really?
And they were testing on prisoners, mental health people, soldiers, and sometimes even children. And they will give them LSD. It's a drug that makes you hallucinate. It makes you go crazy and stuff. They try to put in these drugs together because what their sole purpose was they wanted to manipulate they wanted to manipulate us. They wanted to control the people here in the government, basically, in the US, and they wanted the power to also control other leaders in other foreign countries. They wanted that power for themselves. They wanted to basically control our minds and everything. So they ran so many tests for almost 20 years on people. There was cases where people were dying. People were either they went crazy, they died, or they committed suicide. There were even people who didn't even know they were under the experiment. They just kind of played along because they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's
Back
crazy.
then, it was 1950s, 1970s. You don't have no internet, no this, no that. You're just
No
going in
research,
blind.
nothing.
You
Yeah.
whatever. So they think they were getting help. They think they were getting help. They think they were doing something to help the country, but in reality, they were getting tested on. They were getting experiment on,
That's
and
crazy.
yeah, and
That's
people
crazy.
say that still happens till this day. They just say that it's not under the same name.
Mm.
It's like could be possibly a different name. You
They're
know.
just undercover now.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, do you, like, think about these artists. Think about all these artists that people see them doing different things. One day they act like this, another day they do
Yeah.
this. One day they do this, and another they do that. People say it's Illuminati, people say it's this, people say it's that, but at the end of the day, it's like, what is Illuminati? The government.
Yeah.
Everything is just done by the government.
Mhm.
It's like the government trying to create truth serum. I don't know if you ever heard of what truth serum was. Was like people, it's I don't know if they say it's a myth or maybe it might be real. I don't know, but I know scientists were trying to create truth serum for the government, which was it's something basically the name is truth serum.
Yeah.
It's just an injection, and it forces you to actually say the truth, to actually admit to things, and but it's just it's a whole bunch of things that's scary nowadays.
Yeah, now you don't know what to take, or actually, because you might be just getting tested on. That's crazy.
There's a whole bunch of things that we don't know what could be happening and stuff. Yeah.
Do you believe you're getting tested at one point or something?
Do I believe I'm getting tested? I don't know. I mean, I believe I'm getting watched. I think everybody's getting watched.
Yeah, now through the phone, everything.
I wouldn't even say only through the phone. I feel like you get watched through everything. You get watched through what you do. You get watched with what you say. You get watched with everything.
Have you seen those little mosquitoes? Apparently, they're like new invention. What's it called? Invention.
Yeah.
There's like new mosquitoes now, but they're actually robots that they're watching you now. So now you don't even know if they're real mosquitoes or not. Have you heard of that one?
A mosquito that's robots.
This is like a mosquito and it's watching you just flying.
No, but I believe it. I believe it because I don't know if you ever seen cases where there's these birds. Yeah, and they just like
scary.
they stay in the air. They don't even move. They don't fly. They're just in the air, kind of
there.
Like I believe they might be birds that are just there, but at the end of the day, it's like you just never know.
They
You
say
can't.
like a lot of pecans, right? The those gray birds, the New York birds,
Pigeons.
pigeons. My bad.
Pigeons. Yeah,
The
but
pigeons.
I mean, as I said, I feel like it can be at anything. I mean, it's crazy.
Nowadays, you can't really trust.
Yeah, you can't trust
nothing.
anything. I mean, alright. Since I'm gonna go up a little bit, well, more than a little bit off topic, but would you ever visit a haunted place?
No.
Never. Not at all.
No.
For
I'm scared of
Halloween,
those.
you're gonna come with me. I'm gonna take you. For Halloween, I wanna go to this one. Well, it's probably not as scary as other places. I wanna start off small before we start going to actual big places, and I wanna actually record and show you guys when we go. So let's see how that goes. But for Halloween, I wanna go to this one. It's a PA prison. It's in PA, so you have to sign a waiver. Because apparently in there, ghosts are allowed to touch you, and they actually do things, and like if something happens to you, for example, the ghost pushes you down the stairs or something, it's not on them.
I'm fighting the ghost.
Like it's not their responsibility. Like you're signing a waiver that whatever happens, it's you understand that you're gonna walk into a house and
Yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I'm not too scared because that's just kind of like a baby one compared to all the ones that I've seen. Ones like some of my favorite YouTubers go to. I've seen YouTubers go to the Conjuring house, stay at night at the Conjuring house. I've seen people. Well, we're gonna do in the future. I seen people go to this. Well, I heard about this one cave. I heard about one of my favorite podcasters. They went there. Shout out Jumpers Jump. But one of my podcasters, they went there, and it's called, I forgot what the cave was called, but apparently it's a cave that you have to sign a waiver, and you get a tour guide to go with you. But the thing is, like, in there, they're said to say that you hear voices of your closest family and friends, and they say that if you hear a voice of somebody and they're not talking, for example, if you come with me, I can hear somebody, like I could be hearing your voice from far away, but if I turn around and your lips are not moving and I'm hearing your voice, I have to ignore it, as in like I can't respond to it. But there's many occasions that happens.
What
And
will happen if you respond?
what I mean, it's normal. It's not normal, but it's like as any other like think, for example, I don't know if you ever heard about, if you respond to a ghost, you kind of like letting them enter into your into your life. I mean, that might not be true, but at the end of the day, like it might.
Yeah.
I've heard, like, not fully entering it, but you kind of welcoming it. There's many occasions where people say they hear their mother's or their dad's voice, and when they respond, a few weeks later or months later, they start having issues in life, and crazy things are happening. They also say that in the cave, people sometimes, like, what they give you instructions, that things that you're not supposed to do. But one of the main things is you're not supposed to take any souvenirs from there, any rocks, nothing from there. You're not supposed to take. People actually report that when they take or when they have taken rocks, they would get either like into accidents, car accidents, paranormal things would be happening, crazy things would be happening, and they would personally send a letter back to the location and write something and say, "I'm sorry, I don't, like, I'm sorry that I took this, blah 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 blah." Like,
Yeah.
they would be terrified themselves.
Oh my, I would too.
There's
It
that.
just follows you.
Yeah, no, because at the end of the day, you're stealing something from an evil place, so it's like,
Yeah, you're basically taking all that bad energy to you.
do you have any stories from your home country?
No, but my brother, he experienced something like really creepy. So he went to Mexico a couple of years ago, right? And he went to Veracruz, and it's just campo, like no lights. Like it's like them old times, where you just have to carry like a candle and stuff like that.
Yep.
So mind you, this was only like 4 years ago. There's still pueblitos that are still like that. So he said it was almost night, and my great grandpa, he was sleeping, and my brother went. My brother went to. He went to check on my grandma because my grandma stayed with my great grandpa, and just to check on them. And then my brother said he was gonna go play soccer, but he was just in the room chilling, waiting for my grandma. And he said that he just saw like a white figure walking by, right? But he didn't thought nothing of it because he thought it was my great grandpa, because he would wear still like them old times, where you just wear like a dress, like a white thing. He didn't think nothing of it. And then he went to check on my great grandpa. He was sleeping. So he said that was La Llorona, actually. My grandma told him that, like, you just saw La Llorona pass by you. And that's when my brother just left. He was like, I'm not staying here. He didn't stay there like the night. He just went with my uncle instead. Because imagine, like, you just see La Llorona, like, in a pueblito, like, nah.
Nah, I feel like the most scariest things always happens in somebody's home country.
Yeah.
See, I've never had that experience, but I mean, I've been there 3 times already. About 3 times already. I never really had that experience, but I guess I have a story that my grandpa, no, my great grandpa, I think it was my great grandpa or great great grandpa, because I think it was my great grandpa's dad. But I do have a story that I don't remember who it was, but they told me that whatever it was, my great grandpa, he was walking, and he saw a baby on the floor, and it was crying. Obviously he was worried, like, why is there a baby in the middle of the walkway?
Yeah.
So he bent down and picked up the baby. He said once he picked up the baby, he was walking with the baby, and the baby was obviously cute and everything, and it was beautiful face. He was walking with the baby, but the thing was, each and every step he was taking, the baby was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And he said it got to a point where the baby was so heavy, mind you, a baby, and it was crying, and it was so heavy to the point where it felt like he was carrying stones, and he was just falling with the baby. So but the baby's face was still covered. He only seen it once, the first time. Once he removed the baby's face, he said that the baby had one of the most ugliest, terrifying faces ever. He kind of like got so scared he dropped, and he just said that he heard a voice saying, like, literally the baby talking, saying, "Ahora ya me conociste." and then he literally just booked it. And I have another, like, I have many stories like that. I have another story where my mom, she also experienced, a situation with a baby. She said that she was in Guatemala, and one day she was, studying and everything, because she had to stay up, she had to study and everything at Guatemala, and she was doing what she had to do, her homework and everything. And she said one night she heard a baby cry, and she kept hearing crying, but she didn't think nothing of it. And the next day she went to mom and she said, hey, is the baby okay? Why was the baby crying? Mind you, there was a baby in the house, her aunt's baby. And she was like, I think it was her cousin, like, her little baby cousin. But she was like, was the baby okay? I heard the baby crying. And her aunt was like, there was no baby crying. The baby was asleep all night.
Oh no.
And then my mom was like, you sure? Like, I heard the baby crying for a while. Like, it just wasn't stopping. And then she was like, no, the baby was asleep all night. Once she told my grandma that, oof, my grandma was like scared. She was like, not scared, but like, she was like, no, don't pay attention to that. That's the devil, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they say there's, too, like you said, like Llorona, when you hear the screams and everything, when it's far away, it's close.
It's close, yeah.
And when you hear it close, it's far away.
Yeah.
And there's the same situation with babies. When you hear the baby cry, when it's far away, it's close. When it's close, it's far away. So
Oh no.
it's scary, it's
Yeah.
there's other spirit. I don't know what it's called, but you probably heard of it in Mexico. It has no head. El charro,
I heard of a charro. Is it wait?
the one who rides a horse and
Yeah.
has no head.
I heard of that one. That's scary.
So there's a story, and you're gonna have goosebumps after this one.
Stop.
About to be 12 o'clock already, unless it is. Buckle in tight, my fellow utopians. So, I think it was my great grandpa's, friend. They were with a group of friends and everything. Only, only Lord knows if they're telling the truth or not. But these are stories, just stories that
Yeah.
are told. I mean, could be true, could not be true. But there's a story where the friends, right, they were walking in the middle of the street, and they were actually here. All right, boys. Sorry for the little cut. We have a little special guest here. My little princess. She's sleeping. Well, she's sleepy. But yeah, so we have a little special guest and everything. But
Continue with the chat.
let's continue. So the story, right?
Yeah.
Just be careful with the mic. So with the story, she basically, they said, right, they were walking down the the road basically. And over there in Guat, the road is kind of like the sidewalk. Like, motherfuckers be walking anywhere. And at the end of the day, not only that, but like I said, the road is kind of like the sidewalk. Like, there's no official road. Like, what in the pueblos, in the actual cities, of course, there's roads and stuff. I'm talking about, like, in los pueblos, not every pueblo has roads. They just either dirt or just like cobblestone, like the sidewalks look and everything. But so basically, they were walking down the road, and they were like, it was dark night. Hi, mama. It was dark, dark pitch black and everything, and all they seen was basically, lights on the top. And then when all they noticed from far away was, all they heard was like mumbling, but not just any mumbling. Like, they can hear prayers. And the crazy part was, it was prayers. It wasn't like they said it wasn't like
something crazy,
like
or like
like
just,
a gibberish language, or it was actual prayers. So when they said that, they seen it wasn't even, they didn't see them, but they seen like the reflection, like the shadow, for
the
example, the
horse
shadow
and the
of, not even horses. First they see a shadow of just like kind of like heads lined up like this, kind of walking, and they heard prayers from far away, kind of like if people were, if it
just
was like
praying and
praying and everything. And then in the middle, then they started hearing a horse's like footsteps.
yeah.
And they said they didn't think nothing of it. At first they thought it was just they thought not really a parade, but since they were drunk and stuff, they were more like, oh, it's probably like a group of church people walking around doing alabanza and stuff like that, because that's what they also do in Guatemala. Some people do alabanza over there, so they were just, and then the way they do it over there is a little more different. So they were like, oh, maybe they're just doing some alabanza, maybe they're praying, they're walking by and stuff.
Yeah.
But they, like I said, they kept hearing, the little foots, the horse, and they heard a horse from far away. But then they heard a laugh, like a weird, it wasn't too scary, but it was like more of a dark, sinister. Like I said, it wasn't scary for them to be like, holy shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But it was more of a sinister laugh, but they were more like, okay, that's creepy now,
Yeah.
And so once they heard the laugh, they kept hearing the horses and the people getting closer. They were walking towards it because they were still confused.
Yeah.
When they seen that it was turning the corner, they seen nothing turn the corner but a horse. A horse, nothing on the horse. Mind you, from far away, they could see the shadow with the horse with something on top. But on the top, they couldn't see the head. They just seen like the person's body figure. Not head, but they could still hear prayers. But when they got close, all they seen was just a horse.
That's creepy.
Just a horse. So at first they were confused, but then two of their friends felt so weird, like they felt like goosebumps and weird. They were like, we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So they started, trying to get the fuck out of here and everything, and trying to march away.
Oh no.
And I think I don't remember full on what happened at the end, but I think they told me that they seen something else that made them actually like dip.
Yeah.
But
no. It'd be like, I feel like scary stories are more for like our ancestors. Like they're the ones who experienced like the most, and seen the most. Because I know my grandpa, he's seen like a lot, and also like my uncles. I don't know if you heard of La Mano Peluda.
no.
Never heard of that. So it's just some campos, right? It's just like a hand just pops out, apparently. Yeah, and apparently it's ugly. I never really heard too much stories about it, but what my uncles told me and my grandpa, he said like every time they would walk to their house, they had to pass by a field. And mind you, like when they get out of work, it's always like nighttime, right? Mm-hmm. So they said one time they were just playing around, and they were just joking around about scary stuff, and then de la nada, just a hand like se apareció en el campo, and that's when they started running, because apparently la mano te puede agarrar and can take you with you.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's apparently like that's when they started running and everything. Pero si se te aparece la mano, you have to run because te puede agarrar, and God knows where te lleve,
Probably the hell. I mean, what else? What do you expect?
Well, yeah, but yeah, that's creepy. Like I never heard like somebody else talked about it, So it just makes me think if that's actually true. But the way they explain it, God knows.
You heard of leprechauns and everything?
Los duendes? Yeah, I'm scared of those.
What's your story about it? Because I've got two stories about them.
So,
I don't know what could be true, or not even true, but maybe there's two different ones. But
So I heard like duendes are like traviesos, you know, like they're always hiding your stuff. Like, have you ever noticed cuando algo like is gone? Apparently, the duende is playing around with you. You know, it's just hiding it for you, and then that's when you find it the next day, and it's just like, oh, I looked there. You know, they're just playing around with you. I heard of that ones, but I also heard like of evil ones, like they make braids on horses. Have you heard of that one? And
But those, you know, those don't do anything to anybody.
really, I thought those were like.
No, so the evil ones that I've heard. So there was a story, back then. So there was this one beautiful woman in the pueblo. Apparently, like she was the most gorgeous woman ever. She had the most beautiful hair, you know, supernatural. Everything was like beautiful, you know. And they said that she went to, I think it was to a bar. I don't know what it was, and she met somebody, you know, and that person had fallen in love with her, but not only her, but it was her hair. So, but the girl was like, nah, I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So what the guy, which was actually duende, was doing was siempre le mandaba cartas, siempre le mandaba, you know,
Regalitos.
regalitos, le mandaba cosas, you know, all of these things, and ¿cómo se llama? She didn't want, you know, she was like, no, leave me alone, like, you know, I don't want nothing to do with you. Y al fin he said, te doy una cora. Esa cora, like that coin, is gonna be worth more than $1 million. You know, back then, I don't know how much, you know, maybe 1,000, they probably said 1,000, thousands, a million, but regardless, this is gonna be more than $1 million, you know. And he said, but in change of this coin, I want everything of you, your soul, anything that contains your flesh, your hair. I want you entirely. But you know, in the woman's mind, she was more like, I'm just gonna take this money and disappear.
Yeah.
So when she took the money, she took the coin. She said, "Okay, I agree," not knowing that she was signing a deal with the duende, who's the devil's pet.
Yeah.
She ended up disappearing with the money, going to a whole other pueblo. You know, like I said, try to take it and disappear and act like, oh, you know, I will never see him again.
Like nothing will happen.
Not knowing that he was gonna find her. He waited. He waited till she had a family, till she had a husband, till she had kids. And one night he killed all of them, and he was waiting for her, literally waiting for her in her living room with a bottle of wine, and it was a stack of like gold, of like a pot of gold, and he was just waiting for her. And once she got out the house, like her room, she noticed in the couch all her whole family dead, like murdered and dead. And she was screaming and saying, why? And then he said, you signed a deal, and because of that you try to disappear. Your soul was mine forever, and now because of trying to run away, I'll make your soul suffer forever. And her suffering was seeing her whole family murdered. And he literally said, take this last date with me, sit down, have this date with me, and I will leave you alone, and I'll give you this pot of gold. But of course, you know, her whole family was murdered, and she just didn't want anything to do with him or anything. So basically, she grabbed a knife and charged at him, and all he did was just laugh and said, you can kill me, but I'll be right back again. And the next person you try to fall in love, they'll be dead again.
Oh no. Basically, she will be forever alone.
She'll be forever basically damned.
Yeah.
Her soul basically forever be suffering because of the deal that she made. That's for centuries ago. I mean, like I said, I don't know how. That's the bad duende I've heard about. I'm not sure if there's other, you know, stories or anything, but
No, not that I remember.
that's the story I've heard. It's crazy.
Yeah. Just
It's crazy.
imagine. It just gives me like goosebumps, you know?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Just,
And you know, Bloody Marys is like the American version of La Llorona.
yeah. Have you ever done that one? No. I would never.
My brother has. My brother has.
Oh no. I've always been like scared of those stuff, so I would never even try.
See, my friends, they tried to do it one time. Well, they did it one time. Like my old friends from middle school, and I don't know. I don't know if they were faking or anything, but I just heard screaming and shit. Ah! I'm like, fuck no, I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah.
You think I'm dumb? You think I'm stupid? Like, nah, bruh.
Yeah. But I don't play with those type of stuff. No.
Hell no. See, I love scary movies. I love scary movies. I love watching scary movies. I practically watched almost every scary movie and probably more than twice. Maybe more than 3 times. But to say that, like, I would...
Do something like that.
You see, I would love to visit scary places, though. I don't know. But I want to be with a group. I can't do it by myself. Or even with 2 people. I cannot. I have to be with, like, at least a group of 5 to 6.
Okay.
Cameraman, light man, the people who gonna stay with me, and maybe at least one security just in case to hold on to me if I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like,
imagine the security.
no, he gonna be big as hell. So whenever I'm scared, I just jump into his arms. He's gonna grab me, bro. That's what he gonna do. So no, but we need. I wanna go to. I think it's in Mexico or maybe somewhere else. But have you heard about el lugar donde están like all the muñecas, all the dolls?
Yeah. La isla de las
Is it in Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wanna go there, bro.
That's scary.
Bro, I've heard so many things happen in there. So many crazy, scary shit.
People stay actually like at night.
Yeah, people stay at night.
They will record and then they will hear like stuff, you know, and
People would, have you ever visited? No, matter of fact, we're on the topic of dolls. Have you ever heard? Because I know Annabelle is a big thing, you know, the dolls of the Mexican place. But I know this is also a big thing, but not a lot of people really talk about it. Have you heard Robert the doll?
No.
So Robert the doll is apparently a doll like Annabelle, if not probably more dangerous. When you go to a museum and Robert the doll is there, you cannot take a picture without his permission.
Really?
You cannot take a picture without his permission. You have to ask, and if you ask, I don't know how you know or how you will know. Maybe there's a sign. I don't know. You have to ask. And if you don't ask, you're fucked. There's occasions where people will take pictures to you, people will take videos without his permission, and very bad things will happen to him. Very bad things. Again, like car accidents, car crashes.
Yeah.
Apparently it was given to a kid named Robert, you know, and you know, apparently he was a young boy and the doll was given to him at a young age, and he was. You know, apparently it was already, I don't know if it already had evil spirits or, you know, some evil spirits was given into it, but like eventually many bad things was happening to him and his family. I think his family was murdered, and I think he either died or committed suicide, or I think he gave it away, and then it was passed down. Every person who had that doll had a terrible accident happening to them. So like the last person who had it, he was like tired of it. He was like, you know what, I'm gonna take it to the museum. And yeah.
I don't like dolls in general. Like I have like, you know, Care Bears. That's my story. It might be kind of dumb, but I used to be so fan of Care Bears. You know, I had like the whole collection my parents would give me, and I used to have my bed, and on top of my bed I had like a shelf, but it was like mine. It was all the way in the top.
Yeah.
I had them all lined up, and every single time I wake up, all the Care Bears were on my bed. Like, yeah. And my mom would always be like, you was playing with them at night, or like something, like why are they always on your bed? I'm like, I don't know, like it's not possible for them to fall down, like all of them, you know. So that's why I got rid of them, because they will always end up in my bed for some reason.
In your bed?
Yeah, and mind you, they were like, so this is my bed, right? And they were like, I had like a shelf on top, like on the side, and they were just, and there was no way for them to fall. Like, mind you, like the whole day they won't be on my bed. It was just like in the mornings, like when I wake up.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I'm telling you, my house has something. My old house.
You see, as I said, like I never had anything experienced, and I hope I never do. Reason is, I believe I have a strong soul,
Okay.
but at the end of the day, I'm still a wuss. I'm scared of shit. Even though I love scary movies, I'm scared of shit. I'm terrified of shit. My biggest fear is clowns. I hate clowns. I despise clowns. I mean, if it's a normal clown, you know, you look like a clown or like whatever, dressed normally like a clown, then okay. But I despise clowns. I hate clowns and everything, and you know, it's just not it. Alright, boys, we're gonna be ending with the video. Hope y'all liked it. You know, a little ruckus with the baby, but we can get back another episode, and stay tuned with the giveaways, stay tuned with everything else, and stay tuned with what's next, you feel me? Bye bye.